Hey everyone, this is Mr. Ainsworth, and we're going to go into quiz corrections here in period 6 here in Algebra 1. This is version 4 now, so keep that in mind. All right, and the first thing what we do is pull up your quiz here in your OneNote. You should be split screen and have your video on one side and your OneNote on the other side. And before we get started, what you need to do, click on the text mode at the very top of this top left, click on your document here, copy it. Okay, and then what I want you to do is grab a pen, write down corrections over here on the right-hand side. All right, and then click on text mode here. Press and hold on your document, outside your document on the far right. It'll come up paste, and then you paste your document in there, and now you have another copy of your quiz so that you can do your quiz corrections on. Look at that. You got to learn how to use your iPad. All right, so you do your quiz corrections on the right, you learn how to do it correctly, and you compare with your own way that you did it, and you find your mistakes. All right, so that's the key. And then I'll tell you what the next step is after this. So let's get started. Here we go. So grab a red pen. Let's add the opposite here. Okay, what number minus 4 is 19? Well, the answer is not 15. Okay, it's 15 minus 4 is not 19. So let's add the opposite. Opposite of a minus 4 is a plus 4. Opposites always add to 0, remember that? And we get x is equal to 19 and plus 4, which is 23. Each problem is 5 points. Okay, keep that in mind. Okay, second one. 4x minus 7 equals 21. Well, we're going to add the opposite again. Opposite of a minus 7 is plus 7. Do that on both sides. Remember, opposites always add to 0. So these guys cancel to 0. Giving you 4x here is equal to 28. Okay, 21 and 7 is 28. And then you think about it. 4 times what number is 28? Well, it's got to be 7, right? Or you can do the inverse. The inverse of multiplying by 4 is dividing by 4. And then you get x is equal to 7. Okay, there we go. 28 divided by 4 is 7. All right, next one here. You have x divided by 2 minus 5 equals 7. Let's start off by adding the opposite. Always use the inverse operation. Remember, opposites always combine to 0. You have x divided by 2 is equal to 7 plus 5, which is 12. And here, be careful here. The answer is not 6. 6 divided by 2 is not 12. Okay. What we want to do is do the inverse. And the inverse of dividing by 2 is called multiplying by 2. So you multiply both sides by 2. Simplify a little bit on the left. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times x is x. 2 times 12 is 24. Okay? Remember, each problem here is 5 points. So you have 7 problems. 7 times 5 is 35, so it would be out of 35. Okay, and the next one here, we got x divided by 3 minus 6 equals negative 9. We're going to add the opposite again. Opposites cancel to 0. And then we have x divided by 3 is equal to negative 9 plus 6, which is negative 3. And then like the previous one here, you're going to multiply both sides by 3. Simplify on the left-hand side. You get x equals negative 9. A negative times a positive is a negative. There you go. Those are your first basic problems here. Now let's get into the more challenging stuff. Okay, on this, you want to show your side work. All right, so here you got 2/3 x minus 4 and 2/3 equals 6. We're going to add the opposite. The opposite of minus 4 and 2/3 is adding 4 and 2/3. We're going to add the opposite to both sides. Okay, these opposites add to 0. You get 2/3 x is equal to 6 plus 4 and 2/3, which is 10 and 2/3. All right, add the whole parts. 4 plus 6 is 10. So if you have 6 pieces plus 4 and 2/3 pieces, well, guess what? You have 10 and 2/3 pieces in all. And now at this point, you want to, since we're dealing with fractions here, you want to multiply by the reciprocal. So let's write that down in the margin. Multiply, all right, by the reciprocal. Okay, so that is 3/2. So multiply both sides by 3/2. The reciprocal of 2/3 is 3/2. And when you multiply the reciprocals, you get 1. 3 times 2 is 6 up top. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. Reciprocals always multiply to 1. And then here, this is where you do your side work here. Okay? So we're going to get x equals some number. So what's 10 and 2/3 times 3 halves? So you want to change to improper. Okay, so we take 3 times 10 to get 30. Plus 2 is 32 thirds. Okay, you multiply first, and then you add. Okay, multiply. 3 times 10 is 30, plus 2 is 32 thirds. Okay, now you have to multiply it by 3 halves, so times 3 halves. And before you multiply, I would suggest you simplify. So simplify first. What do I mean? Well, watch this. 3 divided by 3 is 1. In grade school, you might have, called that cross-canceling or something. All right, 32 divided by 2 is 16. So the answer is 16 here. So believe it or not, sometimes you get a whole number. Okay, so x equals 16 there. All right, let's keep it rocking. Here on the next one, we get 3x plus 3 3/4 equals 7. So I'm going to either subtract 3 3/4. You can think of it that way. Or you can say add negative 3 3/4. Opposites cancel to 0. And you get 3x here is equal to something. Now, when you do this right here, the easiest way you can think about it, okay, you think pizza. So if you have 7 pizzas and you have to subtract 3, you got to subtract 3 3/4. You got to subtract left to right and subtract twice. I talk about this in class all the time. 7 minus 3 3/4 is not 4 3/4. Okay, it's under that. So 7 minus 3 is 4, but you still have to subtract 3/4. And so if you think pizza, you got 4 pizzas, and from one of them you divide it up into 4 slices, and guess what? You take away 3 out of 4. 1, 2, 3. So you eat those 3 slices, you have 3 1/4 remaining. So we have to solve 3x equals 3 1/4. So you do side work if you need to. All right, and now you multiply by the reciprocal again. The reciprocal of 3 is 1/3. So you multiply both sides by 1/3, and again you do side work. When you multiply 1/3 times 3, this right here, your reciprocals, you get 1. You always get 1 when you multiply reciprocals. 1/3 of 3 is 1. And then here on the other side, you got to change the improper again. So 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1 is 13. So you got to multiply 13/4 times 1/3. There's no cross-canceling opportunities. You can't simplify it. 13 times 1 is 13. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 divides into 13 one time with 1 remaining, so the answer is 1 1/12. So x equals 1 1/12. So you do your work on the side and show your thinking. All right, last one. So again, you add the opposite. So add negative 3 2/5 to both sides, or you can think subtract 3 2/5, however you want to think about it. All right, simplify. The opposites cancel to 0. So we have x divided by 2 is equal to whatever 7 minus 3 2/5 is. So 7 minus 3 2/5. Subtract twice, left to right. 7 minus 3 is 4. 4 minus 2 2/5 here is under 4. Because again, think pizza. If you have 4 pizzas and you take out 2 slices out of 5, 3 3/5 remain. 3 3/5. Okay, and then you do the inverse, okay? So here, the inverse of dividing is called multiplying. So you multiply both sides by 2. Simplify on the left-hand side. And you get x is equal to whatever 3 3/5 times 2 is, okay? Distribute. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 3/5 is 6/5. So that's 6 plus something. 6/5 is 6 divided by 5, divides 1 time, remainder 1. So that's 1 1/5. So we have to add 6 plus 1 1/5, and obviously that is 7 1/5. All right, and there you go. That is the entire quiz. And so now what you want to do is practice. It's one thing looking at me and watching me and taking notes. That's easy. Anybody can do that. It's another thing doing it on your own. So click on text mode, click on your document, copy it, and then go over to the side and write down practice. Click on text mode again, press and hold on with your finger on your iPad and paste it on the right. And now you have another copy of your quiz that you could use to practice. Again, taking notes and correcting your quiz is one thing, but that's not enough. Okay, you have to practice what you learn, and you have to practice the right way in order to get better. So here, what you're going to do is zoom in here. You're going to practice and then check. Okay, go back to the practice another one, and check your work. Practice, check, practice, check, practice and check, and make sure you develop some mastery. And then when you're done, then you can submit it, and it should look just like this. Okay, and that's how we do it. All right, so make yourself proud, do your corrections, find your mistakes, practice the right way to do it, and develop mastery, and then I'll see you in class, and I'll let you retake the quiz. All right, this is Mr. Ainsworth. I'll see you then. Take care.